All right. Facebook Live, what's happening? What's happening? This is another Tuesday evening, November 17th, 2020. Welcome to another episode of the Brandon Robertson Soul Hour. Yes, we are here. We are Facebook Live right now. And for this evening, I have a wonderful special guest. Now, let me tell y'all about my special guest this evening. This young lady is a native born resident of the Oakland, California area, aka the Bay Area. And she spent some time over in the West Coast. After graduating high school, she matriculated down south to the great state of Louisiana and got her undergrad at Loyola, studying in the great city of New Orleans. Studied with some heavy cats. And then she took her talents to Florida, where she decided to go and study at Florida State University and got another jazz education degree, which she then took that when she graduated and went off to go do some major things. Now, let me tell y'all, she is the bassist and a member of the world famous New Orleans Jazz Orchestra. She has also worked with the likes of Dee Dee Bridgewater, Robert Glasper, Herlin Riley, Nicholas Payton, Christian Scott, my man and a good friend of ours, Jamison Ross. The list goes on. Steve Teray, Herlin Riley. I mean, this girl has done everything. And she's a wonderful, awesome bass player. And she's also an adjunct professor at University of UNO. I'm speaking of the one and only, my homegirl, Miss Amina Scott. Amina, go ahead and jump on and jump in with us. Yee! What's happening?
Yo, you gotta do all of my intros.
Oh, I got you.
The rest of my life.
I got you.
Intro. Oh my god.
Oh man, look, if I'm gonna do it right, I'm gonna take care of you. You already know I'm gonna look out for you, right? You family. I'm gonna look out for you. So, how you doing? What's happening?
Oh, sorry. I'm good. Just sorry, my dog was licking my elbow just now.
we like.
But I'm doing good. I'm happy to be a part of your show.
Thank you for being here, man. For those who are watching, let me tell you, like, me and Amina had got like, we kept getting introduced to each other by other people, but we never actually have met yet. It was weird. It was like, yeah, so is she a friend of yours? She's just like, yeah, but I still don't know who she is. And then she'd be like, you know who Brandon is? Yeah, but I really don't know who he is. So then when we met, it was almost like, what's up, friend?
When was the first? Oh, you were recording your record. That was when we met.
Yep.
And it was like families from day one, man.
From day one, man. So let me ask you, Amina, you have a very interesting, background. You being a bass player, and you a sister who plays bass, which is awesome. But then I also look at, your role in the industry and in our jazz community, man, and you've made quite a name for yourself. But let's take them back though. Can we go back for a little bit? Let's
do it.
Let's wander back in time for a bit. So, growing up, you from Oakland, California, from the Bay.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
What's up?
Area.
What's
yeah,
up?
Area.
Yeah. Okay. So you all about the hyphy.
Yeah, you
know what I mean?
Don't bring it out though. Don't.
You know what I'm saying?
Ain't ready.
So what was life like growing up in Oakland, and what's the West Coast like? Because I mean, you've kind of lived over here in the East Coast for a while, but what was the West Coast like growing up?
The West Coast is interesting. In my opinion, it's like one of the most diverse places to go to. Like, you just see all types of people, all different types of artists. It's a little different now because of the big G word.
All right. Yeah.
It's a little different now, but the more that I move around and go other places, like, I could go to Switzerland. I'm still grateful to be from the Bay.
Right.
Because, one, I wouldn't be who I am now, as, that's how we all probably feel about home. But like, the best way I could describe Oakland is it's like if you took Brooklyn and put it on the West Coast. It's like that kind of vibe. Yo,
what up, son?
Basically, shoot. Basically. You know,
Oh man.
there's all sorts of graffiti and murals, and of course, it's got like a really historic punk rock scene, hip hop scene. A lot of jazz musicians moved back there and became educators, like, and then people that have come out of the Bay Area, like Benny Green, Steve Teray, Ambrose, Joshua Redmond. So we
Mm-hmm.
have like a rich history of a bunch of different kinds of arts that I just grew up around, and I dabbled in like drawing, I dabbled in dance, I stuck with music clearly. So
Right, right.
it was very cool, and I'm grateful for like all the experiences I've had.
So I read that your grandmother kind of helped you kickstart your musical journey, and she had you start on piano. And then
Hmm.
how did you transition from that to bass? Because I think, did you start on electric first or upright?
Yeah, I did. I
On
started
a,
on electric.
on electric. So that's an interesting segue because it's hard
Mhm.
for folks. It's weird. I've met students who have struggled learning electric who started on upright, and then the students who learned electric
Mhm.
tend to pick up upright a little quicker because of their familiarity with the fretboard
Right.
already. And people who have never really played as much electric, but they started on upright, it feels different when
Mhm.
they have to go like this. So they struggle sometimes with that. So what was that
Right.
like for you? How did you get into bass? Like, who introduced you to bass?
I did.
Okay.
But
So you
so the story is, and I know my grandma's watching, she's probably gonna get mad if I mess something up.
don't hurt her, grandma.
So I used to take piano lessons at this music store that was like 10 minutes away from our house. And in the music store was this red and black bass. Now I saw that because at the time I was actually into like rock music.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, no one in my family really put me on any of that. I just like watched too much MTV. So
That happened.
exposure. So I listened to a lot of rock music, and at first I wanted to play drums. My mom was like, "Oh no," and I was like, "Word, all right." So then I wanted to play guitar, and then I tried guitar in like the music class at my middle school, and then I was just like, "This don't fit." So
Mm.
then I ended up figuring, oh well, my naive 12-year-old self, bass is easier because it has less strings. So little did I know though.
Yeah, not quite.
So I'd
Yeah.
started that Christmas, my grandma, I didn't know that my grandma had bought it because like the next week or so the bass was gone, and I was like, what? No, I'm sad, right? So
Aw.
but that Christmas, guess what I got? That red and black bass, like that a half size bass too, not even like a full size electric.
Right.
So I got that, and I actually have an uncle who plays bass, and so my dad called him up, and he came over and he taught me this Too Short song because
Mm-hmm.
Oakland,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he taught me
yeah.
he taught me Good Time. So that was like the first two bass lines that I learned.
Really?
Yeah.
Like the TV show Good Times.
Oh no,
Oh.
I'm thinking of what's the song? Doom doom doom.
Do
Do, do,
do
do,
do
do,
do
do,
do
do, do,
do.
do,
Oh,
do.
Rapper's Delight.
Yeah, but yeah, that song.
But good. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, okay.
Chic, that's who it is. It's
Yeah,
Chic.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
got you.
he
I got
taught
you. I
me
got you.
that, and I eventually took bass lessons, and then I made the switch to upright, which is hilarious, in high school when I was like 15.
15.
Yeah.
So you went from that whole time. Were you gigging at all on electric? Like, were you playing at
Yeah.
all?
Yeah.
Church or on the
I had
scene? Or?
a not church, but I had a band, and it's crazy because looking back, like we were actually playing like good gigs, and we were just like teenagers. All
So
my
you.
friends went to the arts high school in Oakland, and so I just hung out with them a lot.
Ah, okay. I
Yeah.
was going to ask you that too. Did you go to a performing arts school when you were in high school?
Nope, private Catholic.
Private Catholic.
Yep.
So how did you get? I also read that you got a chance to travel to South America when you was in high school. Like you was playing with a group.
Yeah, so
You was
one of my friends was involved with this organization that's still around, the Oakland Public Conservatory of Music. And I just started going to his classes with him. And then eventually, Angela Wellman, the founder of the whole thing, who also played trombone in the Basie band at one point. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, she got me involved with a bunch of stuff. I ended up playing with the youth orchestra that they had there, the Frederick Douglass Youth Ensemble,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned more about like jazz music through that. And 2013 we she got an invite to this, I think it was a conference for different uh, musicians to come together to celebrate the music of the African diaspora, and she would be representing the US. And so as part of her presentation she wanted the youth ensemble to play, and so they set
Mm.
up some gigs for us, and so we ended up getting to play in Peru, which was really cool.
Dang. So you been,
Yeah.
Amina, you been doing it since day one.
Woo. When you say it like that, I guess I never,
Golly.
I just don't think about these things, you know? I
I
just don't think
mean,
about them.
you was playing good gigs. 15 switched to upright, then you got to go to Peru. Goodness gracious, you don't you girl, you don't have to lay it out for you. So now, let's just take it a step further. Let's shift gears for a second. So now, you decided to further your education once you left California, and you decided to go to Loyola. Now, out of all the schools you could have chose,
Mm-hmm.
um, what made you choose Loyola, and then what made you navigate to New Orleans? Like, is there a similarity? Is there a parallel in terms of the music scene, or like the kind of feel that New Orleans has that you got from living in Oakland?
Um, I guess like now that I'm thinking about it, but I think me wanting to come to New Orleans was like first, and then Loyola was second.
Okay.
Because I went on a like a, what do you call those trips where you go and you like service trip.
Mm-hmm.
I Because this was 2011, so it was a like 5 or 6 years after Hurricane Katrina hit.
Mm-hmm.
So New Orleans actually looks a lot different now than it did,
Oh, it looks completely
you know
different.
what I
Yeah, yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I went and we were just like painting houses for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went down Bourbon Street out of all places. Now I'm just like, ugh, right? But there was this band playing and they were bad. Like
Right.
they sounded so good. And I wasn't 21, so I couldn't just walk in and play bass, you know? Like I knew
Right.
all the songs they were playing, right? And I was like, man, I need to come back here somehow. Like
Ah.
I gotta be here. So when it came time for college, I feel like my mom had her thing, but I had a secret agenda to be in this city.
Right. Oh,
So
that's
I
funny.
applied to Loyola, I applied to Xavier, I applied to Dillard, I even applied to Southern. I was like, get me close, you know, like
Give me somewhere.
right. And then it just worked out that at the time, like Loyola gave me a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
So compared to some other options, it was the best one. And it really just like magically worked out that way.
So, living in New Orleans, studying there for your undergrad, you got to be immersed into the scene. And so, who were some of the bands that you got to check out, or like that you got to play with while you was there
Oh man.
during that first part? Because this is like in your this would be considered like your pre notion into
Right.
college to life to playing with people outside of your area. You know.
Hmm.
So, what was that like?
Crazy. Because it's so, it's like one, you know, growing up I was gigging with kids my age.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't playing with elders, so to speak. So when you do that, you know, it's a different vibe.
You know, way
It's
different. Yeah.
it's different, right? Like they don't
Mm.
wait for you. At least your friend, your homie will like mark a form for you, right? But
Right.
like, but it was crazy because I've had so many like close encounters with people who I would play with later. Like I used to play with this trumpet player, Kid Merv, he's New Orleans trumpet player. There's a lot of them. Um, and we played at this club that doesn't exist anymore. It was off of Orleans Avenue called Oopoo Padoo. It's named after the Jesse Smith or Jesse Hill tune.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
and so we played there, and it was like, you've been to Kermit Ruffin spot,
Right.
right?
I've been to Kermit. Yeah.
It's like that, but like way more like grittier and just like hole in the wall, like, you know, it's like it's such a good vibe though, you know.
Right.
Everyone's just trying to hang and party, and listen to music and dance and play cards, and there's cooking food in the back, and like
Mm-hmm.
it, like at the time too, because I was a lot younger and new, I was just trying to hang on to what I
Mm.
had, so I didn't really get to like be like, wow, this is an experience.
Right.
I'm just trying to hold on and keep up.
Right.
I don't
Right.
know no tunes. I barely know how to play upright. I think my technique is trash, so I'm just trying to like get it together. Um, and then funny story, we were playing a gig at the same spot, and my mind is everywhere. I don't know what's going on. And then this drummer comes up and sits in,
Mm-hmm.
and we play this song in five. And I don't think I had ever really played in 5/4
Oh
before.
no. Oh no, Mina,
And
no.
man, no, 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 no. But so we do it. It's fine. Like the piano player's helping me out.
Right.
And I didn't even realize this until later because so fast forward to I think 2018 or 2019, Herlin Riley's record comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got this one, I forgot what it's called, but it's in 5/4. And that's the song we played. And that drummer, I'm realizing now, it like years later, was Herlin
Really?
Riley.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, I'm sorry.
Yeah. We've had those. Yeah. Yeah. I had yeah, that had, look.
uh,
Listen. The first time that ever happened to me, I was with Zach Bartholomew. We was on the road, and we was in Charlotte, North Carolina. We were playing
hmm
at this restaurant, and this piano player comes and taps Zach on the shoulder and says, "Hey man, I want to sit in." He's like, "Okay, cool." Now Zach, at first did like this. He said, "Oh, okay," and then he got up. He didn't really see the guy's face. Miles Bozeman, who was our drummer at the time, I think you
hmm
knew Miles when we was at
Yeah.
FSU. So Miles was there, and he looks up and he goes like this, and I'm like, "It's Cyrus Chestnut, or yeah, it's Cyrus Chestnut playing piano." So I didn't, and my naive self, who was still like faking it till I make it in jazz,
Right.
I was trying, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, this dude don't look familiar to me, so I ain't think nothing of it. And he called Blue Bossa. He's like, "Can we play Blue Bossa?" I said, "Cool."
You like, thank
Man,
God I know that, right?
no, I didn't know it.
Oh no.
No. I knew it, but I didn't
Uh,
know it because of how he was playing it. Cause he starts playing in seven. And I'm like, what the? And me and Miles are looking at each other like, I don't know what time signature he's playing. And he's looking at us like, when you gonna come in? and we just figured it out. And then afterwards he came, he's like, hey man, y'all should do this. Da, da, da. And then that's when Zach put two and two together and was like, dude, that was Cyrus Chestnut. I'm like, when? He's like, yeah. Like, so
wow.
you, so you just said that brought me back. Like,
And
yeah.
that's happened to me with Taylor Ikesy. Like I played this random gig, and one of my the drummer on the gig was talking to this dude at the bar, and he was like, "Yo, can this guy sit in?" The singer's like, "Yeah." And so we play like I didn't know what time it was or something. I'm just like, "Cool, pianist, blah blah blah."
Mm.
Bay Area. I really should have just known. I was thinking, "Oh, this guy's pretty good."
Oh my god.
Wow, this guy's really killing. Wow, right?
Yeah.
And then he gets off the stage, and I'm like, Chris, who were you? That's the dude you were talking to at the bar. Who was that? And he was like, yo, that was Taylor Ikesy. And I'm like, like,
But be glad that you didn't know that beforehand. Like actually be glad that you got to go
oh,
through that
I'm
without knowing
so
that
glad.
information first. Yeah.
I'm so glad. I'm
So
like grateful.
so you got this wonderful introductory of New Orleans music, the jazz music, that jazz idiom, and then you took it a step further when you went to get a master's at FSU, which is where we finally connected.
Well,
But
let's talk about that.
so briefly, real quickly, when you was at Florida State, what was it that helped? What was it about FSU that helped you get to that next point in your musical journey? Like what was it that you took from FSU that you were like, man, I finally have reached a place where I feel like I'm starting to get there.
hmm
Like like what you wanted to achieve on playing bass.
Right. I think, and you might want to speak on this too, because we both had the same teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Well, teachers, we've had all of them. But I think the big thing for me that FSU did was allow me to really be comfortable with who I am as a musician. Because that's the one, like Rodney and I would work on a lot of things, but I think the over, and Melanie too, Miss Punter. And I think the overarching thing that was bigger than, articulation on the bass and getting the note in tune and learning songs and getting better at soloing, it was more of like, taking all of that and then using those tools to find your own voice. But you have to be comfortable with like a lot of things about yourself and like what your voice is, you know, because it's such a personal thing. And like, of course, you're going to sound a little bit like Rodney because you listen to him all the time, every week. Sometimes for like, at least for me, there was a point where I literally saw Rodney for 8 hours a week.
Yeah, there, yep.
8 hours. You know
Yeah,
what I'm talking about. And
yeah,
it was
yeah.
like, and that was like the best time because, and Rodney, like he'll be on the gig and he'll be himself no matter what. And it's so hard to do that for
It
me. And
is.
it was because you're transcribing Paul Chambers and then you get to the gig and you play a F blues like Paul Chambers, but who's Amina Scott?
Right.
And he would ask me that all the time. And like I between him and Leon and Peterson, who I spent the most time with, the three of them, I felt like they really gave me like, well, they gave all of us like a space to sort of figure that out, which was really cool versus telling us, oh, play this. Peterson will be like, here's a Wayne Shorter tune, good luck.
Right.
And his
Hey, check
arranging
this out.
class.
Go.
Yeah, right. And there's no like, here's your little floaties or anything. It's like they just sort of threw you in, and that was like, because I didn't really get that at Loyola for other reasons, just
Right.
because my time there was very weird. But when I got to FSU, that's what it felt like, and I think at that time, that's what I needed, that push to just be like, go
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
You ain't getting called, go do something. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And you don't get to hear that a lot.
Yeah. No, I totally experienced that. I mean, I've pretty much known Rodney since I was 16 because I went to the jazz camp. So then I went there for undergrad and then ended up going there for grad school. But
Oh, so
the
you had a
difference,
lot of Rodney hours.
a lot of Rodney, which is why
Yeah.
whenever I played I get, even down here where I live, people over here, they always say like, man, you got this hump in your playing, or
Yo.
you just got this, like, and I tell them, I was like, I get that from my former teacher because he just would not let me let up. He wouldn't let me let up.
And
He
the
won't.
funny thing is, like, I remember like when I had just moved back, like I was talking to somebody and they were like, man, you sound different in the good way. Like
Yeah.
something, and it's funny because I go to Rodney and be like, why do I sound terrible right now? Like I'm almost done with grad school and I sound bad. And he was just looking at me like, oh, just wait.
Yep. That's exactly what he just was just like this.
Yeah.
Just don't say nothing. He's like,
He knows.
he knows. Yeah. So let
knows.
me ask you this. That transition from Florida State, because I want to get into the music part, because
Okay.
you picked some really great charts, and I know you had texted me earlier, like, you had me thinking, like, dang, you gave me a homework assignment, and I ain't wasn't trying to do no
Bro.
homework. But how? First of all, everybody who's watching this, let me tell y'all, like, Amina is nice on bass, right? But I hadn't heard her play with Nojo yet. And so back in January, I had the honor of doing two shows. I performed with the faculty of the San Francisco Conservatory of Music, or the R
Which was
Jam.
killing, by the way. That was, bro, like you was
Bruh,
smooth, man.
that
Like
look,
you killed that. You killed that.
I was
I want you to
scared.
know.
Oh,
I
well,
just want
thank
you
you.
to know. Like you held that down because me playing, like I couldn't, I would be terrified to play with Warren.
That's how I felt. No, I told Warren that afterwards. I was him and Chad. I was like, I was not prepared for when we did that sound check. I said, "Damn, what did I get myself into just
Yo, can
now?"
I interject one thing though? I didn't mean to interrupt, but there was one tune. It was so funny when it happened. All y'all thought Warren was done soloing, and then he just caught that, that spirit,
Yeah,
and
he
went
just
like 8, like he just boom, like a
yep,
rocket. I was like, dang.
yep.
Nobody in the room was ready for that. And man,
No,
y'all sounded
and
so good.
well, well that particular show, that particular show. I'm playing with the RJam faculty, and then I did my set with Carmen. And shout out to Tyrone Jackson on piano and my man Robert Boone on drums. I saw Rob had chimed in. I see Barry Stevenson popped up on our feed. What's up, B?
Hi,
I'm, I'm
Barry.
I'm interviewing Barry next week, so that's my dog. So we get two bases back to back. All FSU love here. So we're there, and I said my co-producer who's on here, Adam. Me and Adam was walking in, and we was like, "Oh, Nojo's playing on the end of the week," and I said, "Damn, who's playing bass with him?" He's like, "Oh, Amina." I said, "Damn, I finally get to hear her play with the notes." Man, let me tell you, damn, that is a vibe. That whole orchestra is a vibe. All of you guys are a vibe and a half. Like, and that just to hear, I don't know what that last song y'all played on that show. You was playing electric. And I just remember seeing your face, and I was like, I don't know if Amina had actually like rehearsed that song. No, you was like you weren't
Probably
playing
not.
it. No, you were playing it great. Like,
No,
like
I'm
you
saying
didn't.
we probably haven't rehearsed it.
But I just remember looking at you and Gerald, or I think Gerald was playing Watkins. Our friend Gerald Watkins. Gerald was playing drums. But I just remember like the two of y'all was playing this really fast song, and you just was like hanging on for dear life. And you hit the calm Rodney face. And I know
exactly what tune you're
and
talking
I don't know what the name of that song was, but you was playing so fast, and I was like, I know Amina is trying to hang on for dear life right now. But how is it you being? Are you the bassist for the New Orleans Jazz Orchestra?
Yes, with occasional appearances by the great Jason Stewart, who R.I.P. Ellis used to play with Ellis.
That is the baddest.
One of my personal favorite bass players in town.
Yeah.
I have a top 5, but that's another thing.
So how is it being working with the New Orleans Jazz Orchestra? How does it feel to have that role and hold that chair down? And what has the experience has been like for you? Like, how has it helped you musically?
It definitely is challenging because the New Orleans Jazz Orchestra is unlike any other jazz big band ever because we're not limited to what we can do. So how do I explain this? So like for me as a bass player, I can't just be a proficient upright player. I also have to, because I have to be proficient at electric too, because we do Earth, Wind, and Fire. We did Herbie Hancock, which covers a lot of stuff. Done Prince. Things that like you won't see a lot of other big bands do, and like close to the traditional way that it's been done. So like when we did the Earth, Wind, and Fire show, like pretty much we played the tunes, and so like just to be able to play a lot of that stuff and do it well, it's like it's challenging because I have to pull out all the tools sometimes. And it's also challenging to get something like Prince to sound right with 17 other people and a vocalist, right? Prince. I've never seen Prince or heard Prince stuff done in a big band.
I know. I haven't either. But and y'all did y'all did a couple of big band arrangements of like different like modern tunes that I was like, yo, this is hip. Like, how did they like who?
What did we do? We did. Oh, the one that is probably my favorite is working in the coal mine.
Working in the coal mine. Was that the one y'all singing?
Yeah, that's one with like the alto solo.
Alto, yeah. Oh, that was fire. Cool. Super fire. Yo,
that's my favorite one.
Let me ask you something. How does it feel being like, you're like the leading female in that group, like what's that kind of experience like, because you done been on the road with these cats, you don't tour with these cats, you done been to other countries with these cats, so it's like, what's that like for you? What is it like to the audience to our audience members who are watching, and they're like, what is it like if a girl that goes on a tour with an all guy like jazz orchestra? What is that like?
Well, first, I would like to say special shout out to one of my best friends, Emily Fredrickson, who was the first lady of Nojo. And
Emily,
I don't
shout
know
out
if
to
she's
Ricio.
watching, but also happy birthday, Ricio.
Yeah.
Um, but honestly, it feels no different than if I were. I mean, if I were a dude, it'd probably be slightly different. But for the most part, like I've known all of them or most of them before Nojo,
Mm-hmm.
and being in Nojo with them doesn't make our relationship with each other any different.
That's good.
If anything, a lot of the guys really look out for me,
Mm-hmm.
in like a brotherly kind of way.
Right.
Um,
You got a lot of brothers out here too.
Listen,
I'm just putting that out there.
it's really nice to have a whole big band behind my back if I need something,
Right,
But
right.
and it's like and it's actually pretty chill. Like I feel like sometimes some people try to be more reserved around me, but I'm like, how what they say about like Sarah Vaughan. I'm
Right.
not as hard as Sarah Vaughan was, but
Right, right.
I be hanging,
Yeah,
like
yeah, I can hang. Yeah, I got you. I got you. I
I got a
got you.
sense of humor, you know what I'm saying? So it's really funny, but I feel like I'm also treated with a lot of respect
Mm-hmm.
from my bandmates,
That's good.
which is great. Yeah.
And you sound fantastic with that band, and I was so proud of you, man, to watch you play with them. It was cool to watch. Like, yo, like I don't see too many female bassists like on the scene. Like everybody, we talk about Esperanza Spalding, who is like to me like, oh my god, oh. But but it's like it's you rarely see a lot of young girls, playing bass, and then at
Right.
that can also like hold their own too with the best of the best. Like I think that's the dopest thing. Like I always push for that. I have a currently I only have one female bass student, at the school, at the university, and man, like I always push her to say like, don't be intimidated with these guys here. Like hold it down. Like like you can do just as much as what they like. Don't think that because somebody has a little more experience than you. Like, nah. So I always bring you up from time to time, and I'll be like, yo, look, I know a couple of female musicians that are like killing. They will run circles around these guys, right?
And you know
So
what it is though, too? I don't know if you were about to ask me about this.
I maybe because we already in sync. Yeah.
Ask me the question first, and I'm.
What you was about to say though? Let me.
Well, I was just gonna say, like in response to your student, because there's actually a lot of female students in the jazz program I teach at too,
Mm-hmm.
and like I think the biggest thing, or the ones that I don't want to say the ones that seem successful,
Mm-hmm.
but like the biggest thing for me when I teach other young women is that at the end of the day, it's all about the music. And it's hard sometimes to like remove your ego because you're like, I want to be the best, right?
Right.
But that's not really what Train was necessarily thinking. It's not what Joe Henderson was necessarily thinking. And I don't really think it's what, like when you watch Christian McBride, he's just happy to be playing bass.
Yeah, he's just having fun.
And that's
Yeah.
what it's about.
Yeah.
He's put in the work and he's really, I mean, amazing. But
Right.
and there's that part too, right? So like try and remind them like, yo, like it's just music and it's just about the music
Mm-hmm.
and it's a process. And
Well,
I'm still on the process.
right. And I was gonna ask you just
Don't
very
stop.
like just very briefly, like in like 2 minutes, like you can answer this for me. I just want to ask like, what is your take on female roles in jazz today? I got to sit in on Bria Skomberg and Tia Fuller. They did that panel, the women's panel
Yeah.
of jazz, and I got to sit in on that session. It was so empowering, man. It was a powerful thing to sit through because to hear these very successful women kind of humbly and speak of gratitude about just being able to play music and removing the sexism of having me being a woman playing jazz versus I'm a musician who plays jazz. And I thought like the terminology that they were using was so enticing that it made me just think about like whenever I do see females in this community and they can play, I mean just like play their hearts out, man. I don't try to not to feed into that they are female. They're just damn good talented musicians. So in 2 minutes, like, what is your take on that, like in the female roles? Like, because I know you take your role real seriously, I know that about you. So what do you think?
I think playing good music and also empowering other women and men to, be better. And I don't know, I probably would have to agree with everything that Bria and Tia Fuller said. Like, that's, and living in New Orleans has sort of like given me that, because no one looks at me as the chick who plays the bass. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, that's Amina, she's a dope bass player. Like, people down here really don't care. It's like either you play or you can't.
Yep. Yep. That's exactly what it comes to.
It's you can or can't,
You can or can't.
and hopefully you can.
Right, right. All
And
right.
if you
Well,
can't,
no. If you can, then you don't need to be stepping out on a. Nah, you need to go back and what Roddy's just told us. Go back, go share for a couple of. Or Mr. Leah, hey, say it, bro. Say, bro. Your time is a little off. You know what I'm saying? But let's get into this music. So everybody who's watching right now, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been a wonderful conversation. This is like my little sister, so we just kind of conversating. This is like
Yeah.
it's literally like we
it's
was
like
just
that pre-Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Yeah, exactly. So I want to get into the music side of things. Everybody who's watching, every week I ask my guests to pick 3 songs that relate to my 3 key words. That's pretty much the whole center around my show, which is life, freedom, and perseverance. Those 3 words all embody everything that I represent in music, because you want to put life into your music. There's a sense of freedom when you're improvising, and there's a sense of perseverance when you're actually able to achieve what you're performing. So these are things that I kind of hold center to as me as a musician. So I had Miss Amina here pick 3 of her what my man Jeff Denson used, his island picks, his desert island picks, right? And so let's go with life. So for life, you picked I think I'll call it Morning by Gil Heron. So how is this song a personal tie to you, and how does this relate to life in your view?
Well, first of all, let me just say I had a hard time picking any songs for any of these.
Sorry, my fault.
But this one came to mind because, one, every Saturday now, the way I do things is I go clean, I have coffee, clean my house, walk the dog. And then when I come upstairs and do work, I put on a Gil Scott-Heron record.
Mm-hmm.
And this one just randomly came on YouTube. And I don't know, just everything about it was so soulful. And just like, and to me, Gil Scott-Heron represents realness, because the other, like, if you listen to his other songs, he talks about like some real things that go on in society that still happen today.
Right.
And so for me, life, I equate that with realness.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think this is a beautiful composition, and it's soulful, and I just want to live a soulful life. So
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to live a soulful life and eat a bunch of soul food without getting all this
Listen.
cholesterol and high diabetes.
Life is too short to not eat that sweet potato pie.
Right.
You know?
Right. You know, New Orleans, y'all got the gumbo, so you got to put the roux in the gumbo. So yeah, at least that's what was told to me when I got there. Okay,
Also,
so
I really like the lyrics too. That's all. I like the lyrics.
What real quickly? What about the lyrics that sticks out to you? What is it that?
It's almost like like it's kind of like, to me, the song represents also freedom, but I couldn't use it. Thanks, Brandon. It kind of just represents like being free, and like, why should I be sad when, so I guess I'll call it morning. I guess I'll wake up and it's like a new day, freeing yourself from sadness, and like, you'll hear it in the words. I'm doing a terrible job at interpreting them, but you'll hear
I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
All right. So now, for freedom, you picked an Abby Lincoln tune. Now,
Oh,
Abby
yes,
Lincoln.
I did.
Now listen, Miss Abby Lincoln is to me a socialist, a catalyst in in the jazz realm that just was so powerful, and especially that record she did with Max,
Percussion
and
Bittersweet.
yeah,
That was almost on the list, bro. That was almost
that
there.
that listen, that's one of my favorite records, and that's such a powerful record too.
Garvey's Ghost, her voice on
Yes,
that.
but you pick Holy Earth
Yes,
for
I did.
freedom. So why was this song your freedom choice? What made this relate to freedom in your sense?
Her voice. Her voice really to me, I mean, there's a lot of great voices in this music. If we're talking about vocalists, there's so many that I could have chose, but Abby Lincoln's voice to me represents freedom and all of the things she's been through in her life. Like to me, especially in the 90s with that band she had, she released like a series of records, and that was a random one that I had discovered in high school. But and when I heard that song, it almost felt like wherever I was at, if I closed my eyes,
Mm-hmm.
I was wherever I wanted to be.
Mm.
And when I hear like you brought up Garvey's Ghost, like I almost chose that one because that's what her like you could hear it.
Yeah, yeah,
You
no,
know what I
that's
mean?
yeah.
So like when I heard her for the first time, it really touched me in such a deep way that
Mm-hmm.
like it's almost like when you hear Abby Lincoln for the first time in your life, you won't forget it.
Yeah,
It's
no,
the whole
that's
experience.
yeah. It's a whole. There you go. All right, and then for the last one, you pick Perseverance, and you picked or for the last one for Perseverance, you picked They Don't Care About Us by Jill Scott.
Oh, sorry. I put the wrong title in. That's my bad.
Oh, so what was the title that you?
When I wake up.
Oh, When I Wake Up.
Yes,
Okay.
sorry.
Oh,
That's
you
my bad.
flipped it. All right. So
Yeah.
When I Wake Up,
Sorry, I'm terrible.
you were
But
terrible. I was just kidding.
but yeah, so when I wake up by Joel Scott because I was going through like, when you're in college for the first time and everything sucks for a minute.
hmm
Because there's a lot of firsts that happen, right? So I just stumbled upon that song and like, when you listen to Jill Scott, like she could be singing, but it sounds like she's just having a conversation with you.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like
Yep. I know.
she just be
Yeah.
talking, right? So she kind of does that in a way on this song, and just the lyrics. I can't even tell you what it was, but something about the lyrics, just like whenever I'm feeling down,
hmm
it allows me to just power through. And so it's like when I wake up, like it's a brand kind of like that Gil Scott Heron tune, like it's a brand new day, and we're just starting over, and everything's fresh, and it'll be okay. So
Mm.
yeah.
And do you think having that type of mentality helps you get through those hard times and like when you feel yourself being stuck in a place and you're just like I'm trying to push through it but I can't.
I think so. Because let me tell you, in grad school, I had a lot of those.
Huh. Huh.
and
Ooh, I know
I
that too well.
and I think like there's moments where it's like I could be practicing and shedding on something, and I'll get really frustrated with myself because it's like, wow, I should be able to do this by now. Like rushing the process, but then I have to step back and be like, okay, like I'm not just gonna linger on this and how I feel about myself from my playing over this practice session, this gig. If I have a terrible day, because tomorrow is a new one, and I could choose to do whatever I want with this new time and space
Right.
that I have. Right, so that's kind of my thing right now, especially with COVID.
Right. And speaking, actually, let's tie kind of tie that in with COVID. The reason why I started this show was because my life was sucking so bad
Oh
when I
no.
couldn't gig anymore. I felt not free because people that looked like me were being killed like a lot more regularly than normal in the last few months. And then I couldn't persevere through the fact that our country is at a state where everyone's just at a different mindset. You know what I'm saying? And so this show was the show was derived off of those feelings I was experiencing, and those three words just kept coming up. So at the end of the segment of my show, I like to ask my guests to kind of leave us with some food for thought for our audience. It could be anything that could help them get through these times. Any words of advice or words of encouragement that you just want to leave the audience members with, knowing that there's a sense of hope. So I wanted to leave the floor to you last couple of minutes, and you could just drop them jewels on them.
Oh man, I was not expecting this.
I know. That's the whole point. That's why I like the show, because
Man.
I challenge them.
You get it. It does challenge you.
Yeah.
I would say that, that this is not the end, and where we at now is not where we're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's tomorrow, if it's next week, if it's next year, even like, we're all not going to be in the same spaces, same places.
Mm-hmm.
So to just keep an open heart and open mind, and as changes happen, let them happen, and just let them happen, and try to adapt in the best way that you can, even though, like, for me it was really hard to do that at first. Like, I went through a period of, yes, this is great, and then when it seemed like there was no end in sight, like 4 months ago, I got really, really down on myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so and I'm trying to not sound cliche, but know that you don't have to necessarily dwell on these sad feelings, and to make sure you drink water, go outside, get some sun, take a
Right.
walk. What helps me is doing things that I'd always liked to do but never got to do, which is for me hiking and skating. So, and cooking.
Hold up. Like inline skating, like roller
Oh
skating.
no, 4 wheels, homie.
Oh, all right.
Quads. We
I don't
do
know. You
quads
getting
out
brave.
here.
Look, you getting brave. That's why I had to ask. I wasn't sure. I didn't know what skating. I didn't know what you was trying to do. Okay.
But
Well,
yeah.
do you have any upcoming projects? Where can people find you? Where can they find your music? Where can they get in contact with you? Who is Amina Sky? Where can we see what's going on with Amina?
So, if you want to see the gigs that I can't play necessarily right now, but you still want to check out some stuff and get some updates, you could go to www.amina, Amina, Scott.com.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to find some cool pictures of me, you could add me on Instagram at Amina Scott Music. If you use Facebook more, you could just type in Amina Scott and I will pop up. Or if you're having trouble with finding any of those, I Googled myself in the past week, so you can just Google me, and all of these will come up at some point.
Amina, you tripping?
Also, shout out to your co-producer Adam Klein. I have a record that I have been sitting on at this point for a year that he recorded, he mixed it, he mastered it, and I just need to figure out when I'm gonna release it. So be on the lookout. I might just drop it and see what happens. So
Everybody who's Bandcamp fans, make sure y'all be checking y'all Bandcamp notifications. Turn on your push notification on your phone so you get that drop, you get that noti when Amina says live at. I ain't gonna reveal it because I want you to say, it, but live at so and so. And shout out to my co-producer Adam Klein. He also was a big major part of my record, kind of helped executive produce the record of my first album. So shout out to my boy. Also, real quickly before we leave, Amina, I had some people that wanted to say hi. Shout out to my boy Gerald Watkins. I don't know if Gerald's still walking, but Gerald was like, "Yo, what's up, Amina? What's happening?"
Hey, I haven't seen him for years.
Shout out to my boy Chris Rochester. Oh, shout out to Chris. Chris popped up. You got my boy Jackson popped up in there. Jackson Hart. Yeah, man, I got it. And it looks like you have a bunch of your family that popped in too. So they was commenting. Shout out to all the Scots. I see you got some cousins. Oh, wait a minute. Shout out to my boy Chris Butch. Chris Butcher just popped in on the comments. What's up, Chris? Also, shout out to Chris, another Nojo member, another Nojo person. Oh, we got a question. Akil, I'm hoping I said their name right, so please forgive me if I didn't. I try not to butcher people's names. But they asked, why do you think so many jazz bassists seem to not want to incorporate use of the bow in accompaniment or during solos? Dang, that's a good question. That is a great question. Thanks for asking.
That is a great question, and I'm gonna give you my honest answer because I really need to do that more myself. It's because it's hard. That's my short answer, but I also think for one, for me personally, it's really hard to just get a good sound with the. I don't know, my bow work is not. If I'm gonna be honest, I do shed with it though, but I think sometimes not a lot of jazz based teachers push the usage of a bow to their students
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of this music and learning this music comes from exposure.
Mm-hmm.
And like if your teacher doesn't play with the bow, how are you going to play with the bow? Like,
Exit. Yep.
and not to say that that's bad because I studied from a woman who took bass lessons from Ron Carter, and Ron doesn't really teach with the bow, from my understanding. The maestro doesn't use it, so but that's his thing. He's Ron Carter. He could do whatever he wants, you know. But if I took lessons from Christian McBride, I'd probably be using the bow because that's part of his thing,
Right.
you know. And like all of my teachers use bows, and I studied classical bass a couple of times, so I probably have more experience than some other jazz based students, unless they decide to venture into that themselves. But when you
Mm-hmm.
add the bow to your technique, I feel like it's a whole other hurdle that you gotta get over,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yep.
know.
No. And let me chime in on that too, to jump in on that question real quick. Um, I actually made it a requirement for all of my bass majors. They are required to play with the bow. Like, I won't accept you in the program if you don't play with a bow.
That's crazy.
And I
That's
sound crazy. I sound like super hardcore saying that, but the reason why I do that is because I explain to my students, and Amina, you can attest to this. There are two type of basses. There are bases that can do one, and then there's bases that can do both. So, like for instance, you have extremely strong electric players who cannot play a lick of upright. But then you got a whole contra list of bass players who are masters on upright who really can't play electric. But then there's like a very small group of bass players who can actually do both. And then there's an even smaller group who can do both and play with the bow.
right.
So fortunately, you and I got to study with Rodney, who can
Who's
play electric,
he not
who can
small?
also can play with the bow, and that can also do can switch very easily and effortless.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer to that question, man, I think it's more important now that we have the students do use the bow. And I tell them, if you don't play with your bow, your intonation is going to sound like crap.
Oh
If you
yeah.
don't play with the bow, your technique is going to be trash. If you don't play with the bow, there's so much that the bow will fix that you cannot get from pizzicato.
Yeah. Like
So,
honestly, like studying classical bass like at Loyola changed my entire life. And I don't think I would even I don't think I would have gotten accepted to FSU had I not gone through all that.
right. Yeah. So that's a
Yeah.
man, wonderful question. Thank you for that question. You got shout out to my boy Jalen. My boy Jalen B. My boy Jalen. He popped in on the comments, man.
The
And
homie.
maybe we might hear some vibes on that record.
Maybe.
Maybe.
You
I
just
don't
gotta
know.
you just gotta wait, man.
All right, all right. Well, I mean,
2021 is my year.
well, yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Let's end it before I end the show real quick. What's 2021 looking like for you? What you got going on? Are you still quarantined, or you starting to come out a little bit?
Man, so I've actually been doing live streams and I've been writing a lot of different stuff that's like the record that will come out is a lot different than the things I've been writing now.
Oh, that's what's up.
Um, the record, I'll just say the name or what it's probably going to be called, Live at Snug Harbor, um, is mostly, it's all upright actually, and like we're swinging out and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the new stuff I've been writing is more electric bass because I've been experimenting with Logic and things like that. So it's got more of this electric vibe on it that I'm excited to try out and test
I'm
out.
excited to hear it because I know that's a big part of you, you know, and
Yeah.
especially that's your background where you started from. So I kind of
Hmm.
want to hear both influence. I want to know who Amina Scott. You know, what you should name your record. Who is Amina Scott?
I like
Like,
that actually. That's good.
so don't give me no credit. Just give me a copy. That's all I ask. I don't want. Don't give me no credit. I just want a
You
copy
said
of the
don't give you
record.
credit, just a cow. I got you.
Just give me the copy of the record. Maybe
I
maybe a
got you.
signature in there. Be like, hey, big bro, thank you for the title. You can just tell me. You
Thanks
just
for the
tell me.
title.
Yeah. You can just tell me. But then you got to do like Mike Jones. You know, remember the rapper Mike Jones?
Yes.
Get your phone number, put it on your T-shirt, and at your gigs, who is Amina Scott? They go the number. Text the number.
334
Yeah.
8004.
Oh, so you even memorize the joint? You even memorize the joint. That's what's happening. Yeah.
Who didn't?
Yo. But that would be dope. A jazz
That would be
musician
dope.
that would, you know, you got all these people blowing you up, and then you just get rid of that phone, get you a new one, keep that phone for your gig. Like, y'all want to holler at me, call me at my thing. All right. So, hey, Amina, thank you so much for doing this show. I hope you enjoyed yourself this evening. You know, it's
I
always
did.
it was good to catch up with you too, because I
It
know
was
we
so
ain't
good
rapped
to
in a
rap
while.
with you. Oh my god.
Yeah, we ain't rapped in a while, so
I
you
ain't
know.
seen you in 20 years. You look the same.
Thank you, thank you. Just a little gray hair. I probably got what's that just for men. You know, I got the little stuff put. Make that thing jet black again. You know, I'm
Oh
good.
my
I'm good.
god.
So, hey, I want to give a quick shout out real quick again to my co-producer, Adam Klein. Thank you, Adam, for all that you do, man. You always looking out for your boy. He and I have done, this is our 23rd episode. We're trying to get to 50. So we need the support of the audience. So audience members, please continue to support. Please continue to share. Please share these interviews. I hope you can share tonight's interview with all your friends and your family. And next week I'll be joined by another bassist who her and I also is also an FSU alum. He's damn near a brother because we started at FSU together. And my man here, he just dropped a new album that is fire.
It's so good.
And I hate to put the emphasis on that, but damn, he put his big toe all up in that thing. Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm talking about the one and only my man, Mr. Barry Stevenson. He jumped in on the comment earlier. He was shouting. He was throwing a shout out to us earlier. So, but Barry will be on the show next week. So I'm looking forward to talking to my brother. He got a hell of a project on his hand, and he's doing a bunch of big things up in NYC. So looking forward to that. Everybody else who's watching, I hope y'all have a wonderful evening. Please tune in every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. via Facebook Live. Please follow me on all my social media handles. Facebook is Brandon Robertson Music. Instagram is Brandon Robertson Music. I got 2 YouTube channels. You can follow my music channel, Brandon Robertson Music, and then also my YouTube channel for this show, which is the Brandon Robertson Web Series. You can type in Brandon Robertson Soul Hour Web Series, and you will see all the past episodes that are featured there. So thank you all again for joining us. Amina, my dog.
Thank you for having me, Brandon. This is so fun.
Thank you so much for doing this. And everybody else who's watching, y'all have a good evening. And don't forget to wear your mask. All right.
And wash
Talk
your
to you.
hands.
Oh, yeah. And wash them
Wash them.
dirty hands. All right. We might have, do we have any more questions? Nope, we're good. Okay. All right, everybody. Well, we will see you all later. Peace, love, and happiness.